Everyone asks the same question: how long should I fast? 12 hours, 16, maybe 24 or beyond. But here's what nobody tells you. Your body doesn't care about your fasting app timer. It's running its own biological clock, one that evolution programmed millions of years ago. At 12 hours, something shifts. At 16 hours, a switch flips. At 24 hours, your cells start cleaning house. And at 48 hours, that's when things get extraordinary. Today, we're going inside your body's fasting timeline, hour by hour, to reveal exactly what's happening at each stage. Because the real question isn't how long you should fast, it's what do you want your body to do? Quick note before we dive in: this is educational content, not medical advice. If you have any health conditions, talk to your doctor before trying any fasting protocol. Now, here's something fascinating. Over 2 to 500 years ago, a Greek philosopher named Pythagoras, the same mathematician who gave us the Pythagorean theorem, fasted for 40 days before his examinations at the famous Alexandria school. He noticed such a dramatic increase in mental clarity and physical strength that he later required his own students to fast before receiving his advanced teachings. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, prescribed fasting as treatment for various ailments. Ancient Greek Olympic athletes fasted as part of their training regimen, believing it sharpened their performance and focus. Different eras, different cultures, but they all discovered the same thing. Now modern science is finally explaining why. So let's go inside your body's fasting timeline, hour by hour, and discover what these ancient philosophers knew instinctively, but couldn't explain. The first 12 hours are what I call the warm-up phase. After your last meal, your digestive system gets to work. It takes about 4 to 6 hours to fully process what you've eaten. During this time, glucose from your food floods your bloodstream and insulin rises to shuttle that energy into your cells. But once digestion completes, things start to shift. Your blood glucose from that last meal begins to deplete. Your body needs a steady supply of energy, so it turns to its backup system: glycogen stored in your liver. Think of glycogen as a mini backup battery. It's your immediate reserve there, just in case. As the hours tick by, insulin levels start declining. Your body is transitioning. It's not quite burning fat yet, but it's getting ready. You're on the on-ramp to the highway. Not there yet, but approaching the entrance. Here's the thing most people miss. If you eat throughout your waking hours, breakfast, snacks, lunch, more snacks, dinner, maybe a late-night bite, your body never gets past this phase. The metabolic switch never gets a chance to flip. You stay permanently in storage mode, running on glucose, never tapping into your fat reserves. Most people never even reach the 12-hour mark. And that's a missed opportunity. But this is just the warm-up. Now let's talk about what happens between hour 12 and 16. This is where things get interesting. By this point, your glycogen stores are significantly depleted. Your liver has been releasing glucose to keep your blood sugar stable, but those reserves are running low. Insulin drops to baseline levels, and your body faces a decision. It needs fuel. Glucose is running out, so it does something remarkable. It flips a switch. Dr. Mark Mattson, a neuroscientist at Johns Hopkins University, has studied intermittent fasting for over 25 years. His research team coined the term metabolic switch to describe this exact moment, when your body transitions from burning glucose to burning fat. In a landmark paper, Mattson and his colleagues showed that this switch typically occurs between 12 and 36 hours after your last meal, depending on how much glycogen your liver had stored. For most people eating a standard diet, it happens somewhere around the 12 to 16-hour mark. Here's how to visualize it. Your body has two fuel tanks. Glucose is like regular gasoline. It's your default fuel, easy to access, burns quickly. Fat is like reserve diesel. It's stored away, takes more effort to access, but there's a lot more of it. Around hour 12 to 16, you run out of regular gas, and your engine switches to diesel. Insulin plays a crucial role here. Think of insulin as a traffic cop standing at an intersection. When insulin is high, which happens after you eat, it holds up a red light. Fat stays locked in storage, no exit allowed. But when insulin drops during fasting, green light. Fat flows out of your cells and into your bloodstream where it gets converted into energy. This is why 16 or 8 intermittent fasting works. You're not just skipping breakfast. You're giving your body enough time to flip that metabolic switch and start tapping into fat reserves. Even if you never fast longer than 16 hours, you're still triggering this fundamental shift. That's powerful. And here's what Matson's research revealed that surprised even scientists: ketones, the molecules your liver produces when burning fat, aren't just a backup fuel. Evidence suggests they may actually be the preferred fuel for both your brain and body during periods without food. Your body isn't struggling in fasting mode. It's optimizing. But here's where things get even more fascinating. Between hours 16 and 24, fat burning deepens significantly. Ketone production ramps up. Your liver is now in full production mode, churning out these alternative fuel molecules. And something else happens. Something that addresses the number one fear people have about fasting. Growth hormone surges. Studies show that during a 24-hour fast, growth hormone can increase up to 5-fold, 5 times your normal baseline. Why does this matter? Think of growth hormone as your body's insurance policy. It sends a clear message to your muscles. Don't worry, we're burning fat, not you. This isn't starvation mode. This is optimization mode. Your body isn't stupid. It knows muscle is valuable, essential for survival. So when food becomes scarce, it doesn't cannibalize lean tissue first. It protects it. Growth hormone rises specifically to preserve muscle while your body burns through fat reserves. This is an evolutionary adaptation millions of years in the making. Ancient humans didn't eat 3 meals a day plus snacks. They went through natural cycles of feast and famine. Those whose bodies preserved muscle during lean times survived to hunt another day. Those whose bodies broke down muscle first didn't pass on their genes. You're the descendant of survivors, and your body still carries that programming. By this point, you might also notice something else: mental clarity. Ketones don't just fuel your muscles. They cross the blood-brain barrier and feed your neurons directly. Think of ketones as premium gasoline for your brain. Cleaner burning, steadier energy, no crashes. That mental sharpness people describe during fasting, it's not placebo. It's pure chemistry. Ancient hunters needed sharp minds to track prey while hungry. Your brain in fasting mode is returning to that primal alertness. It's working harder, faster, and smarter, because that's exactly what evolution designed it to do. Pythagoras wasn't imagining things when he noticed improved mental clarity. He just didn't have the science to explain it. Now we do. And now around hour 24, something Nobel Prize-worthy begins. In 2016, Japanese cell biologist Yoshinori Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for discovering the mechanisms of a process called autophagy. The word comes from Greek. Auto means self. Phagy means eating, self-eating. Sounds alarming, but it's actually one of the most elegant survival mechanisms your body possesses. Here's what Ohsumi discovered. Working with simple baker's yeast in the early 1990s, he identified 15 essential genes that control this cellular recycling process. When cells are deprived of nutrients, they don't just sit idle. They activate a sophisticated cleanup system. Damaged proteins, broken down and recycled. Malfunctioning mitochondria, eliminated. Cellular waste and debris, cleared out and repurposed for energy. Think of autophagy as your cells hiring Marie Kondo. They start cleaning house, throwing out broken furniture, recycling old parts, making room for new. It's not destruction, it's renewal. Your body has its own built-in detox system. No juice cleanse required. It just needs time to activate. And the implications are profound. This is why fasting has been linked to longevity and reduced risk of diseases like Alzheimer's, diabetes, and certain cancers. Autophagy clears out the cellular junk that accumulates over time. The rogue proteins, the dysfunctional components, the debris that contributes to aging and disease. Every hour you stay in this state, you're giving your system a deep internal cleanse. Osumi's discovery opened entirely new fields in understanding how our cells maintain themselves, how aging works, and how we might prevent disease at the most fundamental level, all from studying humble yeast cells. Now, to be clear, this is where fasting gets more serious. If you're going beyond 24 hours, especially for the first time, pay attention to how you feel. Hydration becomes crucial. Electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, play a vital role in keeping your heart rhythm stable and your energy levels balanced. This is territory where listening to your body matters. Normal hunger is expected. Feeling extremely weak, dizzy, confused, or experiencing heart palpitations. That's different. That's your body telling you something is off. If something feels seriously wrong, not just hunger but wrong, stop. Your body is communicating. Listen to it. But what if you push even further? Beyond 48 hours, you enter deep territory. Autophagy reaches peak levels. Your cells are in full cleanup mode. And something else begins to happen. Research from the University of Southern California has shown that extended fasting can trigger immune system regeneration. Old damaged white blood cells get cleared out. Stem cells activate to generate fresh ones. It's like hitting a reset button on your immune system. Some studies suggest this can help cancer patients recover immune function after chemotherapy. The body's regenerative capacity, given enough time and the right conditions, is remarkable. Your gut begins preparing for renewal. Inflammation markers continue to drop. The body enters a state of deep repair that few people ever experience. But here's the reality check. Beyond 48 hours, the benefits are real, but so are the risks. Electrolyte imbalances become more likely. Without proper management, muscle loss can occur. Your organs experience stress. This isn't something to attempt casually or without guidance. If you're considering fasts, this long work with a healthcare professional. Get your blood work monitored. Understand what you're doing. Your body is capable of extraordinary things, but it also deserves respect. And remember, fasting isn't for everyone. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, have an eating disorder, are diabetic, or have other health conditions, this isn't for you without medical supervision. So after all this science, all these mechanisms, all these milestones, what have we learned? Your body isn't counting hours the way your app does. It's running a sophisticated biological program, one that unfolds in stages. At 12 hours, the warm-up begins. Glycogen starts depleting. You're approaching the starting line. At 16 hours, the metabolic switch flips. Insulin drops. Fat burning begins. Ketones start flowing. At 24 hours, growth hormone surges to protect muscle. Mental clarity sharpens and cellular cleanup activates. The Nobel Prize-winning process of autophagy. At 48 hours and beyond, deep regeneration becomes possible. immune system renewal, stem cell activation, profound repair. Each milestone triggers different mechanisms. Each hour unlocks different benefits. The question was never, how long should you fast? The question is, what do you want your body to do? Want to tap into fat-burning mode? 16 hours might be enough. Want cellular cleanup and autophagy? You'll need to push past 24. Want deep regeneration? That requires time preparation and respect for your limits. Pythagoras knew it. Hippocrates prescribed it. Ancient Olympic athletes trained with it. And now, modern science, from Johns Hopkins research to Nobel Prize discoveries, is confirming what humans have intuited for millennia. Your body has intelligence we're only beginning to understand. Fasting doesn't weaken you. It reveals how much strength you already had. Here's what I want to know. What's the longest you've ever fasted? Drop your number in the comments. I'm genuinely curious where most of you land. And here's a debate for you. Some say 16:8 is enough for everyone. Others say you need 24 hours or more for real results. Based on what you just learned about the biological timeline, which camp are you in? Tell me in one word, what surprised you most about your body's fasting timeline? Mine would be autophagy. If this changed how you think about fasting, subscribe for more science that reveals what your body is truly capable of. And if you know someone who's been confused about how long they should fast, send them this video. They'll finally understand why different lengths do different things. Next up, what actually happens when you break a fast, and why the first meal matters more than you think. Is a 12-hour fast actually doing anything for your body? Or is it just a starting point before the real benefits begin? This is one of the most common questions people ask when they start learning about intermittent fasting. You hear about 16, 8. You hear about 24-hour fasts. You hear about all these different protocols. And somewhere along the way, you start wondering whether your 12-hour overnight fast is even worth the effort. Today, we are going to answer that question with science. We are going to walk through exactly what happens inside your body at each stage of fasting, from the moment you finish your last meal all the way to 24 hours and beyond. We will examine the physiological changes occurring at each milestone, look at what the research actually shows, and give you a clear, evidence-based guide to optimizing your fasting approach for energy and metabolic health. By the end of this video, you will understand precisely what benefits you are unlocking at 12 hours, what additional benefits appear at 14 and 16 hours, and what happens when you push even further. Before we begin, this is educational content, not medical advice. If you have any health conditions or concerns, please talk to your doctor before starting any fasting protocol. Now let us start the journey. The first few hours after you eat are pretty straightforward. Your body is in digestion mode. Your stomach and intestines are working to break down the food you just consumed. Your pancreas releases insulin, a hormone that helps move glucose from your blood into your cells where it can be used for energy. During this phase, which lasts roughly 4 hours after eating, your body is focused entirely on processing that meal. Blood sugar rises as nutrients are absorbed, and insulin works to manage those levels. Proteins are broken down into amino acids. Fats are broken down into fatty acids. Carbohydrates are broken down into glucose. All of these nutrients enter your bloodstream and get distributed to cells throughout your body. This is completely normal. This is what your body is designed to do. But here is something many people do not think about. If you eat dinner at 8 p.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m., your body is still actively digesting when you fall asleep. Your digestive system does not get to rest. This can affect sleep quality because your body is doing two jobs at once, trying to digest food and trying to repair itself during sleep. Many people who struggle with sleep quality find that simply finishing their last meal earlier in the evening makes a noticeable difference. After about 4 hours, things start to shift. Between hours 4 and 8, digestion winds down. Your body has processed most of the meal, and now it needs to maintain energy from somewhere else. This is where your liver comes in. Your liver stores glucose in a form called glycogen. Think of glycogen as your body's first backup energy supply. It is glucose molecules linked together and stored for later use. The average liver holds about 100 grams of glycogen, which translates to roughly 400 calories of stored energy. Your muscles also store glycogen, but that glycogen is used locally by the muscles and cannot be released into the bloodstream like liver glycogen can. When you stop eating and blood glucose starts to drop, your liver begins releasing this stored glycogen to keep your blood sugar stable. This process is called glycogenolysis. Your liver breaks down glycogen back into glucose and releases it into your bloodstream to maintain energy supply for your brain and other organs. At the same time, insulin levels start to decline. This is a crucial shift. When insulin is high, your body is in storage mode. Fat stays locked inside fat cells because insulin signals the body to store energy rather than release it. But as insulin drops, your body gradually shifts out of storage mode and prepares to access other energy sources. Something else important happens during this window. Your gut activates a cleaning mechanism called the migrating motor complex, or MMC for short. The MMC is a series of powerful muscle contractions that sweep through your stomach and small intestine when you are not eating. Each complete cycle takes about 90 to 120 minutes. These contractions move in waves from your stomach through your entire small intestine, pushing bacteria, leftover food particles, and cellular debris toward your large intestine. Here is the critical point. The MMC only works when you are not eating. The moment you consume anything with calories, even a small snack or a sweetened beverage, the MMC stops immediately. It resets and has to start the cycle all over again. This is one of the reasons why constant snacking throughout the day can cause digestive issues. If you eat every 2 or 3 hours, your MMC never gets a chance to complete its cleaning cycles. Bacteria can accumulate in places they should not be, potentially leading to problems like bloating gas, or even a condition called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is often referred to as SIBO. Research has shown that people with SIBO and irritable bowel syndrome have significantly fewer and weaker MMC cycles compared to people without these conditions. So even before we reach the 12-hour mark, your body is already doing important work. Your liver is managing energy through glycogen release. Your insulin is dropping, shifting you out of storage mode. And your gut is getting a chance to clean itself through multiple MMC cycles. Now let us talk about the 8 to 12-hour window, because this is where the main question of our video becomes relevant. By 8 to 12 hours of fasting, several things have happened. Your liver glycogen stores have dropped by roughly 50 to 70%, depending on your activity level and what you ate before. Insulin has fallen to a low, stable baseline level. Your gut has completed multiple MMC cleaning cycles, typically 4 to 6 full cycles by this point. And your body is preparing for the next major transition. So is 12 hours worth it? Let us break this down. Honestly, if you were previously eating for 16 hours a day, which is common for most people who eat from breakfast until a late night snack, then a 12-hour fast gives your body 4 extra hours of rest compared to before. That is 4 additional hours for your gut to clean itself. That is 4 hours of lower insulin levels. That is 4 hours where your body is not in active digestion and storage mode. At 12 hours, you have achieved meaningful gut rest. You have allowed your MMC to complete several full cycles. And you have brought insulin down to baseline, which means your body is no longer actively storing energy and is beginning to shift toward using stored energy instead. However, and this is important to understand, at the 12-hour mark, most people have not fully entered fat-burning mode. Glycogen stores are significantly depleted, but not empty. Ketone production, which happens when your body converts fat into an alternative fuel, has not ramped up significantly yet. And autophagy, the cellular cleaning process that many people are interested in, has likely not started or is only beginning at very low levels. So here is the honest answer. A 12-hour fast has real value, especially for gut health and for people transitioning away from constant eating. But if your goal is more efficient fat burning or activating deeper cellular benefits, you will likely need to go a bit further. To understand why timing matters so much, let us look at a fascinating study that changed how researchers think about fasting. In 2012, Dr. Sachin Panda and his research team at the Salk Institute in California conducted a simple but groundbreaking experiment. They divided mice into two groups. Both groups ate the exact same food, a high-fat diet equivalent to humans eating pizza, ice cream, and fried food every day. Both groups consumed the exact same number of calories. The researchers controlled this carefully to make sure total energy intake was identical. The only difference was timing. The first group could eat whenever they wanted 24 hours a day, grazing freely throughout the day and night. The second group could only eat within an 8 to 12-hour window each day, with the remaining hours spent fasting. The results surprised even the researchers. The group that ate within the restricted time window had 70% less body fat than the group that ate freely throughout the day. They also had better blood sugar control, healthier livers with less fat accumulation, and lower levels of inflammation throughout their bodies. Same food, same calories, completely different outcomes. This study published in the journal Cell Metabolism demonstrated something important. When you eat may be just as important as what you eat. The fasting window between meals, whether it is 12, 14, or 16 hours, creates real differences in how your body processes food and stores energy. This research sparked an entire field of study into time-restricted eating and has since been replicated and expanded upon in numerous follow-up studies. So what happens if we go beyond 12 hours, between 12 and 16 hours? You enter what many researchers call the metabolic switch. This is the point where your body transitions from primarily burning glucose to primarily burning fat for fuel. By now, your liver glycogen is largely depleted. Your body needs fuel, but there is not much glucose left to use. So your liver starts doing something remarkable. It begins converting fatty acids from your fat stores into molecules called ketones. Ketones are an alternative fuel source that most cells in your body can use, including your brain. In fact, your brain runs quite efficiently on ketones. Many people think ketones are only relevant for people following a ketogenic diet. But the truth is, ketone production is a normal part of human physiology that has been happening in humans for hundreds of thousands of years. Whenever you fast long enough to deplete your glycogen stores, your body will naturally produce ketones. This is how our ancestors survived periods between successful hunts. Ketones have some interesting properties. They provide more stable energy than glucose, which means fewer energy crashes throughout the day. They can reduce feelings of hunger, which is why many people report that hunger actually decreases after fasting for 16 hours or more. And research suggests they may improve mental clarity and focus. The brain seems to function well on ketone fuel, possibly because ketones provide a more consistent energy supply than the fluctuating glucose levels that come from frequent eating. This metabolic switch typically happens somewhere between 12 and 36 hours after your last meal, depending on several individual factors. How much glycogen you had stored before fasting matters significantly. Your activity level during the fast matters because exercise depletes glycogen faster. And your previous diet also plays a role. Someone who already eats a low-carbohydrate diet will have smaller glycogen stores and will enter ketosis faster than someone who eats a high-carbohydrate diet. For most people eating a standard diet, the 14 to 16-hour window is where they start to feel this transition happening. Energy levels stabilize. Hunger often decreases rather than increases, which surprises many people. And there is sometimes a noticeable improvement in mental clarity and focus. Growth hormone also starts to rise during this period. We will talk more about that in a moment because the research on this is quite remarkable. Now let us look at what happens between 16 and 24 hours. This is what we might call the deep benefits zone. At this point, ketosis is well established for most people. Your body is efficiently burning fat for fuel. Ketone levels in the blood are elevated, typically reaching zero point 0.5 to 2 millimoles per liter. And several other important processes are ramping up. One of these processes is autophagy. The word autophagy comes from Greek and literally means self-eating. It sounds dramatic, but it is actually a highly beneficial cellular cleaning process. Here is how it works. When your body is not receiving new nutrients from food, your cells start looking for internal sources of raw materials. They identify damaged proteins, malfunctioning organelles, and cellular debris. Then they break down these damaged components and recycle the parts into usable building blocks for new cellular structures. Think of autophagy as your cells doing a deep cleaning and recycling what they can. Old or damaged mitochondria get cleared out. Misfolded proteins that could cause problems get broken down. Cellular components that are no longer functioning properly get recycled. This process helps maintain cellular health and may play a role in longevity and disease prevention. In fact, the 2016 Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to a researcher who discovered key mechanisms of autophagy. One important note about autophagy timing. The exact point when autophagy begins varies significantly between individuals. Some studies show markers of autophagy appearing after 24 hours of fasting. Others suggest it may take 48 hours or longer to reach significant levels. There is no single number that applies to everyone. What we do know is that autophagy is stimulated by nutrient deprivation and that the longer you fast, the more autophagy activity tends to increase. But the specific timeline depends on your individual metabolism, your previous diet, and other factors unique to you. Growth hormone also increases significantly during extended fasting. And the research on this is quite striking. A study from the Intermountain Medical Center Heart Institute measured what happens to human growth hormone during a 24-hour water-only fast. The results showed that growth hormone increased by an average of 1,300% in women and nearly 2,000% in men. Growth hormone increased more than 10-fold in women and nearly 20-fold in men after just one day of fasting. What makes this finding even more interesting is that this increase was not correlated with weight loss. The growth hormone surge happened independently of any changes in body weight. You do not need to lose weight to experience this benefit. It happens simply because you are fasting. Why does this matter? Growth hormone serves several important functions in the body. It helps preserve lean muscle mass. It promotes fat burning by mobilizing fatty acids from fat cells. And it supports tissue repair and recovery throughout the body. This is one of the reasons why fasting does not cause the muscle loss that many people fear. In fact, the surge in growth hormone during fasting actively protects muscle tissue while promoting fat breakdown. Your body becomes better at burning fat while preserving muscle. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. Our ancestors did not have refrigerators or grocery stores. They frequently went through periods without food, sometimes for days. If the body lost muscle every time food was scarce, they would not have had the strength to hunt when food became available again. Instead, the body evolved to protect muscle and burn fat during times of scarcity. Growth hormone is part of that protective mechanism. Of course, a 24-hour fast is not for everyone and should not be done frequently without proper preparation. If you are new to fasting, 12 to 16 hours is a good place to start and build your experience. And as always, listen to your body and respond to its signals. Now let us put all of this together. We have walked through the entire journey from the first hour after your last meal to 24 hours of fasting, from digestion to ketosis, from MMC gut cleaning to autophagy. Let us summarize what you are unlocking at each stage. At 12 hours, you achieve meaningful gut rest. Your MMC has completed multiple cleaning cycles, typically 4 to 6 full sweeps of your small intestine. Insulin has dropped to baseline, shifting your body out of storage mode. This is a solid foundation, especially if you were previously eating constantly throughout the day. For gut health, for breaking the habit of constant snacking, and for giving your digestive system a proper rest, 12 hours provides real measurable benefits. At 14 to 16 hours, you enter the metabolic switch zone. Glycogen is largely depleted. Ketone production ramps up as your liver converts fat into fuel. Fat burning accelerates significantly. Growth hormone begins to rise. This is where most people start to notice differences in energy levels and mental clarity. If your goal is more efficient, fat burning, this 14 to 16-hour range is the sweet spot for daily intermittent fasting. At 18 to 24 hours, you are in the deep benefits zone. Ketosis is well established. Growth hormone surges dramatically with increases of over 1,000% documented in research. Autophagy activity increases, helping your cells clean out damaged components. Insulin sensitivity continues to improve. This zone is for more experienced fasters who want to maximize cellular and hormonal benefits. It should not be done daily, but can be incorporated occasionally, perhaps once a week or a few times per month. So is 12 hours enough? The answer depends on your goals and your current situation. If your goal is to improve gut health, reduce constant snacking, and start building a consistent fasting habit, then yes, 12 hours is a great starting point. You are getting real benefits that will make a difference over time. If your goal is more efficient fat burning and you want to take advantage of ketone production and increased fat oxidation, then 14 to 16 hours will give you better results. This is where the metabolic switch happens for most people. If your goal is to maximize autophagy and growth hormone benefits for cellular health and longevity, then occasional longer fasts of 18 to 24 hours might be something to explore. But with proper preparation and experience, and by always listening to your body. The most important point is this: there is no single perfect fasting window for everyone. Your body is different from someone else's body. Your previous diet, your activity level, your age, your metabolic health, and your individual genetics all influence how your body responds to fasting. What works perfectly for one person may not be optimal for another. Start where you are comfortable. Build gradually. Pay attention to how your body responds, and adjust based on your goals and what you learn about yourself. Before we wrap up, a quick but important note about safety. Fasting is not for everyone. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, if you have a history of eating disorders, if you take medications that require food, if you are underweight, or if you have medical conditions like insulin-dependent diabetes, please talk to your doctor before starting any fasting protocol. And for everyone, regardless of your health status, listen to your body. If you experience severe dizziness that does not improve when you sit down, if you feel your heart racing or pounding, if you experience extreme weakness or confusion, those are signals to stop and eat. Fasting should feel manageable, not like a battle against your own body. The goal is not to push yourself to the limit. The goal is to find a fasting window that works sustainably for your body and your life. Now, I want to hear from you. How many hours are you currently fasting each day? 12 hours, 14, 16. Or are you still figuring out what works for you? Share your number in the comments below. And here is a question to consider. Some experts say you need at least 16 hours for real metabolic benefits. Others say 12 hours is already valuable. After seeing the science today, where do you stand on this debate? If this video helped you understand what is happening inside your body, when you fast, consider subscribing so you do not miss future videos that dive deep into the science behind health and metabolism. Your body is smarter than you think. It has mechanisms for fat-burning cellular cleaning and muscle protection that have been refined over hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. Now you know what those mechanisms are and when they activate. Use that knowledge to make the choice that is right for you. Intermittent fasting. Two words that have taken the health world by storm. Millions of people swear by it. Celebrities talk about it. Scientists study it. But here's what most people get completely wrong. They think intermittent fasting is about willpower, about gritting your teeth through hunger, about suffering minute by minute until you can finally eat again. The truth is something far more fascinating. Your body was literally designed for this. Every cell, every hormone, every ancient survival mechanism inside you knows exactly what to do when food stops coming. And once you understand what's actually happening inside you, hour by hour, everything changes. The struggle transforms, the confusion disappears, and you start working with your biology instead of fighting against it. Now, before we dive in, a quick note. This is educational content, not medical advice. If you have health conditions or you're on medications, talk to your healthcare professional first. Fasting is powerful, but it's not for everyone. So what actually happens when you skip that first meal and let the hours tick by? Let's walk through it together. From the first wave of hunger to the moment your body unlocks abilities most people never experience. And somewhere around hour 16, something remarkable begins that might just change how you think about food forever. It starts within the first few hours. You skip breakfast, or maybe you push back lunch, and your body notices almost immediately. Blood sugar begins to drop. Insulin, the hormone that controls how your cells absorb energy, starts to fall. And your brain, so accustomed to a steady stream of glucose, sends out its first distress signal. This is where the discomfort begins. You might feel restless, a little foggy, maybe even irritable. Your concentration wavers, your stomach growls, and that voice in your head starts whispering that maybe this whole fasting thing isn't for you. Here's what's actually happening. Think of your body as having two fuel tanks. The first is a small glucose tank stored in your liver as glycogen. It's quick energy, easy to access, but limited. Maybe 12 to 24 hours worth at most. The second tank is massive. It's your fat reserves, tens of thousands of calories just sitting there waiting. But your body prefers the easy tank first. So in these early hours, your liver releases glycogen to keep blood sugar stable. Your cells are still running on glucose, and your brain, which burns through about 120 grams of glucose every single day, is demanding its usual supply. That irritability you feel, that's your brain throwing a tantrum, like a toddler who's been told no more candy. But this is not weakness. This is your metabolism waking up. Your body is noticing that the usual food supply has stopped, and it's preparing for something your ancestors knew intimately. A shift that evolution designed for survival. By hour 6 to 12, something interesting happens. Hunger doesn't keep climbing. It actually comes in waves. You expect it to build and build until it becomes unbearable, but that's not how your body works. Ghrelin, the hormone responsible for hunger, signals spikes around your usual meal times. Then it falls. Then it spikes again. Then it falls again. Each wave a little smaller than the last. This is crucial to understand. Hunger is not a constant flood. It's a series of waves. And if you don't feed each wave, they get smaller. Your body realizes food isn't coming on the usual schedule and starts adjusting its expectations. Around hour 8 to 10, most people hit their peak struggle. This is the moment when that leftover pizza in the fridge starts calling your name. When your coworker's lunch smells impossibly good. When every advertisement seems to feature food, your willpower feels tested to its limit. But here's the thing nobody tells you. This is also the moment right before the breakthrough. Most people quit here. They assume the hunger will only get worse. They don't realize they're minutes away from their body making a decision that changes everything. Stay hydrated during this phase. As insulin drops, your body releases water and electrolytes. A glass of water with a pinch of salt can make a surprising difference. You're not just fighting hunger, you're supporting a biological transition. Push through to hour 12 and your body crosses a line. Glycogen stores are running low. Your liver looks for another energy source, and it finds one: fat. Your body begins breaking down fatty acids and converting them into something called ketone bodies. This is the metabolic switch. The moment your system shifts from burning sugar to burning stored fat. And here's where things get fascinating. Ketones don't just fuel your muscles. They cross the blood-brain barrier and feed your neurons directly. Your brain, which was screaming for glucose just hours ago, suddenly receives a different kind of fuel. Cleaner, steadier, more sustainable. Think of glucose like burning newspaper. Quick flame, bright for a moment, then gone. You need constant feeding to keep the fire going. Ketones are like burning oak logs. Slow ignition, but once they catch, they burn steady and long. No spikes, no crashes, just sustained energy. Dr. Mark Mattson, a neuroscientist at Johns Hopkins University, spent over 25 years studying exactly this moment. What happens to the brain when we fast? His research revealed something remarkable. Fasting triggers the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's a protein that helps your brain create new neural connections, strengthen existing ones, and protect against degeneration. But here's what makes Mattson's work even more compelling. He doesn't just study intermittent fasting. He practices it every single day for over 35 years. When asked why, his answer was simple: because my brain works better. This isn't a scientist reading data from a distance. This is someone who lives the science because he's seen what it does. Between hours 12 and 16, many fasters report something they didn't expect. The fog lifts. Focus sharpens. A strange calm settles in. You're not bouncing between sugar highs and crashes anymore. Your brain is running on steady fuel, and it shows. Tasks feel easier, distractions fade. Some people describe it as entering a flow state without trying. This isn't placebo, it's chemistry. Your brain, freed from the constant roller coaster of glucose spikes, operates in a more stable environment. Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine flow more consistently. The mental noise quiets. And you start to understand why ancient cultures from every corner of the world practiced fasting, not just for physical health, but for mental clarity. Here's a question for you. At what hour does your hunger usually peak? Is it around hour 8, hour 10, earlier, later? Drop your number in the comments. I'm curious if there's a pattern among people watching this. Now, let's talk about what happens between hours 16 and 24, because this is where your body truly shows what it's capable of. By hour 16, you've entered full ketosis. Fat burning is in high gear, but something else activates, something your cells have been waiting to do: autophagy. The word comes from Greek meaning self-eating. It sounds strange, maybe even alarming, but it's actually one of the most powerful healing processes your body possesses. Think of autophagy like Marie Kondo visiting your cells. She goes through every corner, every compartment, asking, does this spark function? Damaged proteins get broken down. Misfolded structures get recycled. Cellular waste that's been accumulating gets cleared out. Your cells don't just survive during fasting, they clean house. This process is linked to reduced risk of cancer, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, and accelerated aging. When your body isn't constantly busy digesting food, it redirects energy toward maintenance and repair. It's biological housekeeping at the deepest level, and while autophagy cleans up your hormones shift dramatically. Human growth hormone can surge up to 5 times its normal levels. This isn't about building massive muscles. It's about preservation and repair. Growth hormone protects your lean tissue while your body burns fat for fuel. You're not losing muscle. You're losing what you don't need. Here's the evolutionary story behind all of this. 50,000 years ago, your ancestors didn't have refrigerators. They didn't have grocery stores or delivery apps. They hunted, and often they hunted hungry. Days could pass between successful kills. If their bodies simply collapsed during those periods, humanity would have ended right there. But evolution had other plans. Humans who stayed sharp during scarcity survived. Their focus heightened. Their senses sharpened. Their bodies learned to preserve muscle and burn fat. Those who couldn't adapt didn't pass on their genes. You are the descendant of survivors. Every cell in your body carries code that's been tested across thousands of generations. When you fast, you're not doing something unnatural. You're returning to a rhythm your biology knows intimately. By hour 20 to 2024, most fasters report a surprising shift. The hunger that dominated those early hours has faded almost entirely. Energy feels stable. Cravings disappear. There's a sense of control that's hard to describe until you've experienced it. You realize how much of your day used to revolve around food. Thinking about it, planning it, eating it, and now that noise has quieted. Your body isn't panicking. It's optimizing. Every system working together with remarkable efficiency. Fat burning, cell repair, hormone balance, mental clarity. This is what your biology can do when you give it the chance. Now, if you feel dizzy and it won't pass, or your heart starts racing, listen to your body. These are signals. Don't ignore them. Drink water with electrolytes. And if symptoms persist, stop the fast and consult a healthcare professional. Fasting is a tool, not a test of toughness. Finally, let's talk about breaking the fast. Because this moment matters more than most people realize. After hours of cellular repair and hormonal optimization, your body is in a heightened state. Insulin sensitivity is at its peak. Your gut is primed to absorb nutrients efficiently. What you eat first determines whether you lock in those benefits or undo them. Think of your metabolism like it's waking from a deep sleep. It needs gentle reactivation, not a shock. Breaking a fast with processed food, refined carbs, or a massive meal causes insulin to spike sharply. All that stability you built gets disrupted. Instead, start simple. Whole foods. Maybe some vegetables, healthy fats, or a small portion of protein. Chew slowly. Eat mindfully. Give your digestive system time to wake up. A calm first meal tells your body the fast has ended safely. No panic, no stress. And here's what many people discover over time. Fasting changes your relationship with food. You stop eating out of habit or boredom. You start eating with intention. Food becomes nourishment again, not background noise. That might be the most profound transformation of all. So let's bring it all together. Intermittent fasting isn't about punishment. It isn't about proving how tough you are. It's about understanding your biology, working with systems that have been refined across millions of years of evolution. Those first hours of discomfort, that's your metabolism waking up. The hunger waves, they pass. The mental fog, it lifts once ketones take over. The cellular cleanup, the hormone optimization, the fat burning, it's all happening automatically once you give your body the conditions it was designed for. You're not fighting your body when you fast. You're finally listening to it. Now I want to hear from you. Some experts say 16 hours is the sweet spot. Others push for 24 or beyond. What's your fasting window? And do you think the struggle is worth the transformation? Let me know in the comments. And here's a challenge. Describe your first fast in one word. Was it brutal, surprising, liberating, life-changing? Drop that word below. I read every single comment. If someone you know has been curious about fasting but scared to try, share this video with them. Sometimes understanding the science is all it takes to turn fear into confidence. Subscribe if you want more content that changes how you see your body. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because next time we're exploring what happens when you do this for 30 days straight. The results might surprise you. Your body is more capable than you know. You just proved it. 36 hours without food. No breakfast, no lunch, no dinner, and then some. It sounds like punishment. But what if your organs see it differently? What if instead of suffering, they're actually waking up to something they were designed to do? Science has been watching closely. And what happens inside your body during those 36 hours is nothing short of remarkable. Your liver transforms into a ketone factory. Your gut gets a deep clean it rarely experiences. Your brain switches fuel sources, and your immune system begins something that sounds almost too good to be true: regeneration. Most people assume that skipping meals for this long would weaken them, that their organs would struggle, slow down, maybe even start to fail. But the research tells a completely different story. Your organs don't just survive a 36-hour fast. They adapt, they communicate, they heal in ways that eating 3 meals a day simply doesn't allow. This is what happens to your organs after 36 hours of fasting, hour by hour, organ by organ. Of course, this isn't for everyone. If you have medical conditions, talk to your healthcare provider first. But for most healthy adults, what you're about to learn may change how you see fasting forever. Let's begin with the first 12 hours. During this phase, nothing dramatic happens on the surface. You might feel normal, maybe a little hungry as mealtimes come and go. But inside your body is quietly preparing for something big. A shift that most people in the modern world rarely experience. Think of your liver as a backup battery. It stores about 100 to 120 grams of glycogen, which is glucose packed away for emergencies. This is your body's first line of defense when food stops coming in. For the first 12 hours, your liver slowly drains that battery to keep everything running smoothly. Your blood sugar stays stable. Your brain gets the glucose it needs. Insulin levels begin to drop, and glucagon, the hormone that signals your body to release stored energy, starts to rise. Your body isn't panicking, it's preparing, like an orchestra tuning its instruments before the performance begins. But here's the thing most people don't realize. This preparation phase is essential. Without it, the transformation that follows wouldn't be possible. Your cells are receiving signals, adjusting their chemistry, getting ready for a fuel switch that evolution perfected over millions of years. Every hour that passes, your body moves closer to activating systems that have been dormant since your last extended break from food. By the end of hour 12, the backup battery is running low. And that's when things start to shift. From hours 12 to 18, your body crosses a metabolic threshold. Scientists call it the metabolic switch. And once it flips, everything changes. Your liver, now low on glycogen, starts producing ketones. These are molecules made from fat, and they become your new energy source. But here's the fascinating part. Your brain, which has been running almost exclusively on glucose, your entire life can actually use ketones too, and in some ways it prefers them. Imagine your brain has been driving a car that only runs on premium gasoline. Now special transporters in the blood-brain barrier called monocarboxylate transporters start letting a new fuel through. Think of them like bouncers at an exclusive club suddenly opening the velvet rope for ketones. By hour 16 to 18, your brain can derive a significant portion of its energy from this new fuel. Studies suggest it can reach up to 60% by hour 20. That's a complete metabolic transformation happening inside your skull. And your brain doesn't just tolerate this new fuel, it thrives on it. Ketones provide a steadier, cleaner energy than glucose. No spikes, no crashes, just smooth, sustained power. Meanwhile, your fat cells are waking up too. A hormone called hormone-sensitive lipase increases its activity by 300 to 400%. Fat is being released into your bloodstream, traveling to your liver, and converted into those precious ketones. The body fat you've been carrying isn't just sitting there anymore. It's being mobilized, broken down, transformed into energy. Ancient humans relied on this state for survival. It's how they stayed sharp enough to hunt when food was scarce. A foggy, sluggish brain would have meant death. So evolution made sure that when food runs out, the brain actually gets sharper. Your body remembers this. It's been doing it for millions of years. You're simply reminding it how. Now from hours 18 to 24, something happens that most people never hear about. Your gut, the organ that works non-stop every time you eat, finally gets a vacation. But it's not just resting, it's renovating. There's a cleaning crew inside your gut that only works when you're not eating. Scientists call it the migrating motor complex. Back in the 1970s and 80s, gastroenterologists discovered this remarkable phenomenon: powerful waves of contractions that sweep through your intestines between meals. One researcher described its strength as comparable to a nutcracker. Think of it as a street cleaning truck that sweeps through every 90 minutes. It clears debris, bacteria, and undigested material, pushing everything down toward the exit. But here's the catch. Every time you snack, every time you eat even a small meal, you stop the truck. The cleaning crew goes on break. In a world where most people eat from morning until night, this cleaning system rarely gets to finish its job. During a 36-hour fast, the migrating motor complex runs cycle after cycle, giving your gut a deep clean it rarely experiences in modern life. Hour after hour, wave after wave, your intestines are being swept clean. But that's not all. The trillions of bacteria living in your gut, your microbiome, are reshaping themselves during this time. Certain beneficial bacteria, like Lactospiraceae, thrive during fasting. They can survive in an empty gut by feeding on the mucus your intestines naturally produce. And as they multiply, they produce something valuable: butyrate. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid that strengthens your gut lining, calms inflammation, and improves what scientists call barrier function. Think of your gut lining as a security fence. When it's strong, it keeps toxins and harmful bacteria where they belong, inside the digestive tract. When it's weak, things start leaking through into your bloodstream, triggering inflammation throughout your body. Fasting helps rebuild that fence. A stronger barrier means fewer toxins leaking into your bloodstream. It means better digestion when you do eat again. It means a healthier gut overall. Some researchers now believe that gut health influences everything from your mood to your immune system to your risk of chronic disease. The gut-brain connection is real, and fasting strengthens it. Most people have never heard of the migrating motor complex or Lactospiraceae. But these might be some of the most important things happening during your fast. Your gut isn't just surviving those hours without food. It's healing, cleaning, and rebuilding from the inside out. Here's a question for you. Have you noticed mental clarity during fasting? Or does hunger make your brain fog up? Drop clarity or fog in the comments. I'm curious which camp you're in. Now, from hours 24 to 30, your organs aren't just surviving anymore. They're communicating. Think of it as an orchestra finally hitting its stride. The liver signals the brain. The brain adjusts its chemistry. The pancreas recalibrates. It's a coordinated symphony of adaptation with every organ playing its part. Let's start with your brain. By hour 24, something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor or BDNF increases dramatically. BDNF is like fertilizer for your neurons. It promotes the growth of new brain cells, strengthens connections between existing ones, and protects your brain from damage. This is why so many people report mental clarity during extended fasts. It's not placebo. It's not imagination. It's chemistry, pure and simple. Think about this from an evolutionary perspective. When our ancestors hadn't eaten for a day or more, they needed to be at their sharpest. They needed to remember where food sources were located. They needed to plan, strategize, and execute a hunt. A brain that got foggy during food scarcity would have been a fatal flaw. So evolution did the opposite. It made the fasting brain sharper, more focused, more capable. At the same time, your brain cells start a process called neuronal autophagy. They're clearing out damaged proteins and cellular junk, including the kind of buildup associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Your brain is literally cleaning house, removing the debris that accumulates from years of constant activity. Your heart benefits too. Studies show slight improvements in cardiac efficiency during fasting. Your heart doesn't have to work as hard. Its rhythm becomes more stable. Blood pressure often drops slightly. The organ that beats 100,000 times a day is getting a subtle but meaningful rest. It's not struggling. It's optimizing. Your pancreas, the organ responsible for producing insulin, is also resetting. After hours without food, insulin levels drop to their lowest point. This gives your cells a chance to regain their sensitivity to insulin. When you eventually eat again, your body will handle glucose more efficiently. For anyone concerned about metabolic health, blood sugar issues, or long-term disease prevention, this is significant. And then there's the growth hormone surge. Here's something that surprises most people. During extended fasting, growth hormone can increase by up to 500%, 5 times the normal level. This hormone protects your muscle mass while your body burns fat. Your body isn't eating itself. It's strategically choosing what to burn and what to protect. Evolution designed this with precision. Our ancestors needed to stay strong enough to hunt even when they hadn't eaten for days. Burning muscle would have been a death sentence. So the body developed a sophisticated system to preserve lean tissue while using fat for fuel. You're not losing muscle during a 36-hour fast. You're protecting it while burning the energy stores your body has been saving for exactly this moment. Of course, you might feel some hunger pangs during this phase. Maybe a mild headache, some fatigue or irritability. That's normal. Your body is adapting, recalibrating hormones and neurotransmitters to stabilize energy and mood. Stay hydrated. Add electrolytes if you need them. Things like salt, magnesium, and potassium. These help your body maintain balance during the fast. Without them, even the strongest willpower can falter. From hours 30 to 36, something profound happens. Your immune system begins to regenerate. In 2014, researchers at the University of Southern California made a discovery that changed how we understand fasting. Dr. Walter Longo and his team found that extended fasting triggers a remarkable process. Old, damaged white blood cells are cleared out through autophagy, the body's cellular recycling system. And then stem cells in your bone marrow wake up and start producing fresh new immune cells. Longo described it as the body getting the okay to rebuild the entire system. Think of it like replacing tired, worn-out soldiers with fresh recruits straight from boot camp. Your immune system isn't just surviving the fast, it's being renewed from the ground up. The implications are profound. This isn't about fighting off a cold. This is about fundamentally refreshing the system that protects you from everything from infections to cancer cells to chronic disease. Meanwhile, inflammation markers are dropping. Interleukin-6 decreases by 25 to 30%. Tumor necrosis factor alpha drops by 30 to 35%. C-reactive protein falls by 20 to 25%. These are markers of chronic inflammation, the silent fire that contributes to aging heart disease, diabetes, and countless other conditions. And during a 36-hour fast, they're plummeting. Chronic inflammation is something most people carry without even knowing it. It builds up over years of stress, poor sleep, processed food, and constant eating. It ages you from the inside. It sets the stage for disease. And here in the final hours of a 36-hour fast, your body is actively turning down that inflammation, quieting the fire, resetting the baseline. This isn't magic. This is biology. Evolution spent millions of years perfecting this survival program, and at 36 hours, you've activated it. So after all this, you might be wondering how often should someone actually do a 36-hour fast? The honest answer is, it depends on you. But research and clinical experience offer some guidance. For most healthy adults, once a month is a reasonable starting point. It gives your body time to experience these benefits, the autophagy, the immune reset, the gut restoration, without becoming a chronic stressor. Monthly fasting creates a rhythm. Your body learns to expect it, adapt to it, and benefit from it. Some people build up to once every 2 weeks. A few even do it weekly. But here's the key. More isn't always better. Your body needs time to recover, to rebuild, to actually benefit from what happened during the fast. If you're feeling depleted, struggling to recover, or dreading the next fast, that's your body telling you to slow down. Think of it like deep cleaning your house. You don't need to do it every day. Doing it too often becomes exhausting and counterproductive. But doing it occasionally, once a month or so, keeps things running smoothly. The same principle applies to fasting. Start with once a month. See how you feel. Pay attention to your energy, your sleep, your mood in the days afterward. Notice how your digestion feels when you return to eating. Your body will tell you if it wants more or less. The goal isn't to push to extremes. It's to find a rhythm that works for your life, your schedule, and your unique biology. A few important notes before we wrap up. This isn't for everyone. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, have a history of eating disorders, are type 1 diabetic, have heart or kidney disease, take medications that require food, or are under 18, please work with a healthcare professional before attempting extended fasting. And if you ever feel severely dizzy, experience heart palpitations that won't stop, or feel confused during a fast, stop immediately. Your body is talking. Listen to it. 36 hours. That's all it takes to activate a biological program that evolution spent millions of years perfecting. Your organs don't suffer during a fast. They transform, they communicate, they heal. Your liver becomes a ketone factory. Your gut gets the deep clean it's been waiting for. Your brain runs on premium fuel and grows new connections. Your immune system regenerates from the inside out. Your heart finds a steadier rhythm. Your pancreas resets its sensitivity. This isn't starvation. It's strategic. It's temporary. And it's something your body already knows how to do. You're not teaching it anything new. You're simply giving it permission to remember. Now, here's where I'm curious about you. Some researchers say 36 hours is the sweet spot for cellular benefits. Others argue you can get most of the gains at 24 hours. What's been your experience? Is the extra 12 hours worth it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you know someone who's been curious about fasting but worried it might damage their organs, share this with them. The science says the opposite. If this changed how you see your body, subscribe. Because next time we're exploring what happens when you push even further the 48-hour mark, where autophagy reaches its peak and cellular renewal goes even deeper. Your body is smarter than you think. Give it the chance to prove it. What happens to your digestive system when you break a fast? You've spent hours, maybe days, not eating. You feel lighter, clearer, proud of yourself. But here's what most people don't realize. The way you eat after fasting might be even more important than the fast itself. Get it wrong, and you could undo everything you just worked so hard to achieve. Bloating, cramping, rushing to the bathroom, feeling worse than before you started. Sound familiar? Millions of people around the world are discovering the benefits of fasting. Weight loss, mental clarity, more energy. But so many of them make the same mistakes when it's time to eat again. And those mistakes can turn a successful fast into a painful experience. Today, we're going to look at exactly what's happening inside your body when food returns. Why your digestive system needs time to wake up, and the most common mistakes that ruin people's results. By the end of this video, you'll understand your body in a way that most people never do. This is educational content, not medical advice. If you have health conditions, talk to your doctor before trying extended fasting. Now let's start with what happens to your gut while you're fasting. When you stop eating, your digestive system doesn't just sit there waiting. It starts to slow down. Think about it. Your gut's main job is to break down food and absorb nutrients. When there's no food coming in, it doesn't need to work as hard. Your stomach produces less acid. Your pancreas releases fewer digestive enzymes, dropping to about 10 to 20% of its normal output. Your gallbladder stores up bile instead of releasing it. And the tiny finger-like projections lining your intestines, the ones that absorb nutrients, they actually start to shrink a little. This might sound alarming, but it's completely normal. Your body is being efficient. Why keep a factory running at full power when there's no work to do? This is actually one of the reasons fasting can be beneficial. Your digestive organs get a chance to rest and recover. But here's the problem. When you suddenly eat again, this factory needs time to start back up. The workers have gone home. The machines have cooled down. Everything needs to warm up before it can run at full capacity again. And if you throw too much work at it too fast, things can go wrong. This is the part most people don't think about. They focus so much on getting through the fast that they forget about what comes after. Now here's something fascinating that most people don't know about. When you're not eating, your gut has a built-in cleaning system. Every 90 to 120 minutes, a gentle wave of muscle contractions sweeps through your stomach and intestines. This wave pushes out leftover food particles, dead cells, bacteria, and other debris that might be hanging around in your digestive tract. Scientists call this the migrating motor complex, but you can just think of it as your gut taking out the trash. This cleaning process is incredibly important. It helps prevent bacteria from building up in places where they shouldn't be. It clears out things that could cause inflammation or infection. It keeps everything moving in the right direction. Here's the important part. This cleaning cycle only works when your stomach is empty. The moment you eat something, even a small snack, it stops. Your body switches from cleaning mode to digestion mode. So when you fast, your gut actually gets cleaner than it normally is. This is one of the reasons why fasting can feel like a reset for your digestive system. People who deal with bloating, gas, or irregular digestion often notice improvements after fasting. Their gut has finally had a chance to clean house. And this cleaning cycle is also why constant snacking throughout the day can be a problem. If you're always eating, your gut never gets a chance to do this deep cleaning. The trash just keeps piling up. But there's more happening inside you during a fast. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria. We call this the gut microbiome. These tiny organisms play a huge role in your health. They help digest certain foods. They produce vitamins. They communicate with your immune system. They even influence your mood and brain function. When you stop eating these bacteria, don't just sit there waiting for food. They adapt. They have to. Their food supply has been cut off, so they need to find other ways to survive. Some species that are good for your health actually become stronger during fasting. They become more resilient. Research shows that fasting can increase the diversity of your gut bacteria. And more diversity is generally a sign of a healthier gut. A diverse microbiome is better at handling different situations and protecting you from harmful bacteria. Scientists have found that certain beneficial bacteria, the ones that produce compounds that reduce inflammation and support your gut lining, often increase during fasting periods. Your gut is essentially selecting for the bacteria that are best at surviving challenging conditions. And those tend to be the helpful ones. But when food comes back, your gut bacteria will shift again. What you eat first can influence which bacteria thrive and which ones don't. If you break your fast with sugar and processed foods, you're feeding the bacteria that love those things. And those aren't usually the ones you want to encourage. This is one reason why breaking your fast with junk food is such a bad idea. You're essentially feeding the wrong bacteria at the worst possible time. You're undoing the positive shift that happened during your fast. So your gut has been resting. It's been cleaning itself. Your bacteria have been adapting. The whole system has been in a quiet, low-energy state for hours or even days. Now what happens when food finally returns? The moment food hits your stomach, your body sends out signals. Time to get back to work. Hormones are released. Nerve signals fire. Your entire digestive system starts waking up. Your gallbladder squeezes to release the bile it's been storing. This bile helps break down fats. Your pancreas starts pumping out digestive enzymes. These enzymes break down proteins, carbohydrates, and fats into smaller pieces your body can absorb. Your stomach ramps up acid production to start breaking down food and killing any harmful bacteria that might have come in with your meal. But remember, these systems have been running on low power. They've been in rest mode. They can't just switch to full speed instantly. It takes time for enzyme production to ramp back up. It takes time for your stomach to produce enough acid. It takes time for everything to get back to normal working capacity. This is where most people make their first mistake. They eat too much, too fast. Their digestive system is still waking up, still stretching, still getting the machinery running. But they're already throwing a huge meal at it. The result: bloating, gas, cramping, nausea, sometimes diarrhea. Your body simply can't process it all. The food sits there partially digested, causing discomfort and problems. This is why starting small is so important. A small portion of easy-to-digest food gives your system time to warm up. It sends the signal that food is coming so everything can start ramping up production. Then an hour or two later, you can eat a normal meal. Your system will be ready for it. Think of it like waking up in the morning. You don't jump out of bed and immediately start sprinting. You stretch. You move slowly. You give your body time to transition from sleep to activity. Breaking a fast should work the same way. Now here's where things can get serious, especially after longer fasts of 48 hours or more. When you eat carbohydrates, your body releases insulin. That's normal. Insulin helps move glucose from your blood into your cells where it can be used for energy. This is a healthy, necessary process. But insulin does something else too. It pulls minerals like potassium, phosphorus, and magnesium from your blood into your cells. Normally, this isn't a problem. You have plenty of these minerals circulating, and they get replenished from the food you eat. But during a long fast, your mineral stores may already be running low. Your body has been using them for various functions, and you haven't been eating to replace them. So when insulin suddenly spikes from eating carbs, especially refined carbs or sugar, it can drain what little you have left circulating in your blood. When these minerals drop too low in your blood, problems start. Potassium is essential for your heart to beat properly. Phosphorus is needed for your cells to produce energy. Magnesium is involved in hundreds of processes throughout your body. This can make you feel weak, tired, confused. Your heart might race or beat irregularly. You might have muscle cramps or twitching. In severe cases, it can affect your breathing or cause seizures. In extreme cases, this is called refeeding syndrome. And it can be dangerous, even fatal in the most severe situations. This isn't just theory. History taught us this lesson in the most tragic way possible. In 1945, when Allied soldiers liberated the Nazi concentration camps at the end of World War II, they found survivors who had been starving for months or even years. These people were skeletal, barely alive, desperate for food. The soldiers immediately gave them whatever they had: chocolate, biscuits, rich meals from their own rations. They thought they were helping. They thought food was exactly what these people needed. But within hours, many survivors collapsed. Some died, not from starvation but from eating. Their bodies couldn't handle the sudden flood of food after being deprived for so long. The insulin surge, the mineral shifts. Their weakened hearts and organs couldn't cope. Estimates suggest that thousands died this way at camps like Bergen-Belsen and Auschwitz. At Bergen-Belsen alone, nearly a quarter of the survivors who were liberated died within the first few weeks, many from complications related to refeeding. It was this tragedy that finally taught doctors about refeeding syndrome. Scientists began studying what happens when starving people start eating again. They learned that the body needs time, that you have to start slowly, that certain foods are safer than others. The knowledge we have today about how to safely break a fast comes directly from these terrible lessons of history. Now, I don't want to scare you. For most people, doing intermittent fasting or even 24 to 48-hour fasts, serious problems are rare. Your body has enough reserves. The changes aren't dramatic enough to cause major issues. But if you're doing extended fasts beyond 72 hours, this is something to take seriously. The longer you fast, the more your body adapts to the fasted state, and the more careful you need to be when returning to food. The solution is simple. Don't start with high-carb foods. Avoid sugar and refined carbohydrates for your first meal. These cause the biggest insulin spikes. Instead, start with something gentle: bone broth, some cooked vegetables, a small amount of protein. Give your body time to adjust before introducing carbs back into your diet. And if you've been fasting for a week or more, consider supplementing with electrolytes before you start eating. This helps ensure your mineral levels are adequate before that insulin surge hits. Now here's the good news. Once you start eating again properly, your gut doesn't just go back to normal. It actually rebuilds itself. And it does this remarkably fast. Research published in the journal Nature in 2024 found something remarkable. After fasting and then eating again, the stem cells in your intestines divide about 60% faster than usual. These stem cells are the ones responsible for creating new cells to line your gut. They go into overdrive after a fast. Your gut lining regenerates. Those tiny finger-like projections that absorb nutrients, the ones that shrank a little during the fast, they grow back. Often they come back even healthier than before. Your body is literally renewing itself from the inside. The gut lining replaces itself every few days under normal conditions. But after fasting, this process accelerates. It's as if your body knows that the gut needs to be rebuilt and it prioritizes that reconstruction. Your microbiome also starts rebalancing. The beneficial bacteria that became stronger during the fast now have an advantage. If you feed them the right foods, fiber-rich vegetables, fermented foods, quality proteins, they can establish themselves even more firmly. Your gut can come out of the fasting period healthier than it went in. This is one of the hidden benefits of fasting that people don't talk about enough. It's not just about what happens while you fast. The weight loss, the autophagy, the mental clarity. It's also about what happens when you eat again. Your digestive system gets a chance to rebuild stronger than before. So breaking a fast isn't just recovery. It's regeneration. It's renewal. But you can only get these benefits if you don't sabotage yourself with common mistakes. So let's go through them one by one. Mistake number one, eating too much too fast. Your digestive system needs time to start back up. Throwing a huge meal at it right away overwhelms the system. Your stomach isn't producing enough acid. Your pancreas isn't releasing enough enzymes. The food just sits there fermenting, causing bloating and discomfort. Start small. Give your body 30 to 60 minutes to ramp up production before eating a full meal. Mistake number two, starting with the wrong foods. Hard to digest foods like red meat, dairy products. Fried foods, nuts, and raw vegetables can overwhelm a system that's still weak. These foods require a lot of digestive power to break down. Your gut isn't ready for that yet. Save these for your second or third meal. Start with something gentler like bone broth, cooked vegetables, or a small amount of easily digestible protein like fish or eggs. Mistake number three, eating high-carb or sugary foods first. This spikes insulin dramatically and can cause the mineral shifts we talked about. A bowl of pasta, a sandwich, fruit juice, candy. These might be what you're craving, but they're the worst choices for breaking a fast. After longer fasts, this becomes especially risky. Keep your first meal low in carbohydrates. You can add carbs back in your later meals once your body has adjusted. Mistake number four, not drinking enough water. Dehydration makes everything worse. Your digestive system needs fluids to function properly. Saliva, stomach acid, bile digestive enzymes. All of these are water-based. If you're dehydrated, your digestion will suffer. Many people don't drink enough during their fast, and then they forget to hydrate when they start eating again. Drink water before, during, and after your first meal. Mistake number five, ignoring warning signs. Your body will tell you if something is wrong. If you feel severe bloating or cramping that doesn't go away after a couple of hours, pay attention. If your heart is racing or beating irregularly, that's a red flag. If you feel confused, extremely dizzy, or unusually weak, stop eating and get medical help. These are signs that something isn't right, and pushing through could make things worse. Most of these mistakes come from the same place: not understanding that your digestive system needs time, not respecting the transition from fasted state to fed state. You've been patient during the fast. You waited hours or days without eating. Be patient when you break it too. A few more hours of careful eating won't hurt you, but rushing can. Now, a quick note about who should be extra careful. If you have diabetes, your blood sugar regulation is already compromised. Fasting and refeeding can cause dangerous swings. Work with your doctor. If you have kidney problems, your body may not handle mineral shifts well. The electrolyte changes during refeeding could be more dangerous for you. If you have a history of eating disorders, fasting can trigger unhealthy patterns. The restriction and then eating cycle can be psychologically harmful. Please work with a healthcare provider who understands your history. If you're on medications that need to be taken with food, or medications that affect your blood sugar or electrolytes, extended fasting isn't something to experiment with on your own. For everyone else, the key is simply being smart about how you return to eating. Listen to your body. Start slow. Choose gentle foods. And don't rush the process. Your digestive system is more intelligent than you might think. It knows how to rest when food isn't coming. It knows how to clean itself during the quiet periods. It knows how to rebuild when nutrition returns. Your gut has been doing this for as long as humans have existed. Periods of feast and famine are part of our evolutionary history. All you have to do is give your body the right conditions. Don't fight against its natural rhythms. Work with them. And that includes being thoughtful about how you break your fast. The way you eat after fasting might be even more important than the fast itself. A few hours of patience, a gentle first meal, and you protect everything you worked for. You give your gut the chance to rebuild stronger. You set up your microbiome for success. You avoid the discomfort and potential dangers of doing it wrong. Rush it, and you could undo the benefits. You could make yourself miserable. You could even put yourself at risk. The choice is yours. And now you have the knowledge to make the right one. So here's my question for you. What's the longest fast you've ever done? And how did you break it? Did you do it right, or did you learn the hard way? Like so many of us, drop your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. We can all learn from each other. And if you know someone who's been struggling with bloating or feeling sick after fasting, share this video with them. It might save them a lot of discomfort. It might even help them finally get the results they've been working toward. Some people swear by bone broth as the perfect first food after a fast. Others say protein is fine to start with. Some prefer just vegetables. What works best for you? Let's discuss in the comments. If you want to understand more about how your body works and how to get the most out of fasting, make sure you're subscribed. We go deep into the science every week, explaining things in a way that actually makes sense. And if you haven't seen it yet, check out our video on what happens during a 7-day fast. The complete timeline of how your body transforms day by day. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Imagine trying to focus on your work, but all you can think about is food. Your stomach growls. Your mind keeps drifting to the fridge. You check the clock and realize you still have 4 hours left in your fasting window. Sound familiar? If you've ever tried intermittent fasting, you know this feeling. The hunger can seem overwhelming, especially in the beginning. Many people give up not because fasting doesn't work, but because they don't know how to handle the hunger that comes with it. But here's something most people don't realize. The way hunger actually works is very different from what you might expect. And once you understand it, everything changes. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what's happening in your body when you feel hungry during a fast. More importantly, we'll cover what you can actually do about it. This is educational content, not medical advice, so always check with your healthcare provider before starting any fasting routine. Let's start with the basics. When you feel hungry, there's a hormone responsible for that sensation. It's called ghrelin. Ghrelin is produced mainly in your stomach, and its job is to send a signal to your brain that says it's time to eat. When ghrelin levels rise, you feel hungry. When they fall, that hunger fades. Simple enough, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Ghrelin isn't released based on whether your body actually needs food. It's released based on when your body expects food. Let me explain what that means. If you normally eat breakfast at 8 in the morning, your stomach starts releasing ghrelin around 8 in the morning. If you usually have lunch at noon, ghrelin spikes again around noon. Your body has learned your eating schedule, and it prepares for meals before they even happen. This is why that 12 o'clock hunger feels so intense when you're fasting. It's not because you desperately need food at that exact moment. It's because your body has been trained to expect food at that time. The hunger you feel is partly a learned response, not necessarily a sign that you're running out of energy. Understanding this is the first step to handling hunger better. That gnawing feeling at your usual mealtime isn't an emergency. It's your body following an old schedule that you're now changing. Now here's where the science gets even more surprising. Researchers wanted to know what happens to ghrelin when people fast for extended periods. They measured ghrelin levels every 20 minutes in subjects who fasted for 33 hours straight. What they expected to find was that ghrelin would keep rising higher and higher the longer people went without food. That's not what happened. Instead, they discovered that ghrelin follows a wave pattern. It rises at the times when subjects normally ate peaks for a while, and then falls back down even though no food was consumed. The hunger didn't keep building indefinitely. It came in waves. This is crucial information for anyone practicing intermittent fasting. When you feel that intense hunger hit, it's not going to keep getting worse forever. That wave of hunger typically lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. If you can ride it out, if you can distract yourself or just wait, that wave will pass. And you'll often find yourself feeling much better on the other side. Think about times when you got busy and accidentally skipped lunch. Maybe you were deep in a project or stuck in back-to-back meetings. Around 1 o'clock you were starving, but by 3 o'clock you weren't that hungry anymore. You didn't eat anything yet. The hunger faded on its own. That's the wave pattern in action. Your body doesn't stay in peak hunger mode constantly. It cycles through it. There's another fascinating piece to this puzzle. Scientists at Harvard conducted studies on the body's internal clock and hunger. They found that hunger follows a natural daily rhythm that's built into our biology. And here's the surprising part. Hunger is actually lowest in the morning around 8 or 9 a.m., even though that's typically after your longest period without food, the overnight fast. You'd think that after 10 or 12 hours of not eating while you sleep, you'd wake up starving. But for most people, that's not the case. Morning hunger tends to be mild compared to evening hunger. Why would our bodies be designed this way? The answer lies in evolution. Think about what life was like for our ancestors tens of thousands of years ago. There were no refrigerators, no grocery stores, no delivery apps. Food wasn't guaranteed. It had to be found, hunted, gathered, or caught. Now imagine waking up in that world. You haven't eaten since yesterday. If hunger immediately made you weak, sluggish, and unable to think clearly, you'd be in serious trouble. You'd be too impaired to do the one thing you needed to do, which was find your next meal. So our bodies evolved a brilliant solution. Instead of making us weaker when food wasn't available, our biology actually sharpens us. Hunger is suppressed in the morning hours. Mental clarity increases. Energy becomes more stable. Our ancestors woke up ready to hunt, not disabled by hunger pangs. This is why extended fasting doesn't make you progressively weaker with each passing hour. Your body has backup systems that kick in when food isn't coming. It switches from burning glucose to burning stored fat. It produces ketones, an alternative fuel source that your brain can use efficiently. It releases hormones that preserve muscle and maintain alertness. These aren't flaws in your biology, they're features. Survival mechanisms refined over millions of years of human evolution. When you fast, you're activating ancient programming that helped your ancestors survive periods of scarcity. Hunger then builds throughout the day, peaking in the evening, which would have encouraged our ancestors to eat well before the fasting period of sleep. This pattern is still running inside you right now. It's why many people find morning fasting relatively easy, but struggle more as the day goes on. You're not weak for feeling hungrier at night. You're human. Your biology is working exactly as it was designed to work. Here's some good news for anyone just starting out with intermittent fasting. The first day or two is usually the hardest. This isn't a sign that you're failing or that fasting isn't for you. It's simply your body adjusting to a new eating schedule. Remember, your stomach has been releasing ghrelin at your old meal times, possibly for years or even decades. If you've eaten breakfast at 7 a.m. every day for 20 years, that's over 7,000 times. Your body has learned to expect food at that hour. When you suddenly change the pattern, your body needs time to catch up. Those first 24 to 48 hours often bring the most intense hunger because your system is still operating on the old schedule. But here's what happens next. As you stick with your new eating window, your body starts to adapt. The ghrelin release pattern begins to shift. Your stomach learns that food isn't coming at 7 a.m. anymore, and it stops sounding the alarm at that time. Many people report that after just a few days of consistent intermittent fasting, the hunger becomes much more manageable. Some even say it nearly disappears during their fasting window. They describe feeling lighter, more focused, and surprisingly not hungry at all during times when they used to feel starving. Your stomach doesn't physically shrink, despite what some people claim. What changes is your hormonal response. Your body learns the new schedule and adjusts when it sends hunger signals. The cells in your stomach that produce ghrelin have their own internal clocks, and these clocks can be reset. This adaptation is real, and it's backed by research. So if you're in your first week and struggling, know that it gets easier, much easier. You just have to give your biology time to catch up with your intentions. Most people find that by week 2, fasting feels almost natural. Now let's talk about something that trips up a lot of people. Not all hunger is the same. Sometimes when you think you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. The signals for hunger and thirst in your brain can get crossed, especially if you're not used to paying close attention to your body's cues. Many people find that drinking a glass of water when hunger strikes reduces or eliminates the sensation entirely. It wasn't food their body wanted. It was hydration. Then there's emotional hunger. This is when you want to eat not because your body needs fuel, but because you're bored, stressed, anxious, or just looking for comfort. Food triggers the release of dopamine in your brain, the same chemical associated with pleasure and reward. Sometimes you're not hungry for calories. You're hungry for that dopamine hit, that feeling of satisfaction. Being able to tell the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger is a game changer for fasting. Physical hunger usually comes on gradually and is accompanied by physical sensations like stomach growling, slight fatigue, or difficulty concentrating. Emotional hunger tends to come on suddenly, often triggered by a mood or situation, and it usually craves specific foods rather than just food in general. Before you break your fast, ask yourself which type of hunger you're experiencing. If it's emotional, there are other ways to get that dopamine boost that don't involve eating. Now I'm curious about your experience. When do you feel hungriest during a fast? Is it the first few hours, somewhere in the middle, or right before your eating window opens? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to see if your experience matches what the science tells us. Alright, so you understand why hunger works the way it does. But understanding alone doesn't make the hunger disappear when it hits. Let's talk about what you can actually do in those moments. The first and simplest strategy is to drink water. When a wave of hunger comes, drink a full glass of water and wait 10 to 15 minutes. You might be surprised how often this helps. Adding a small pinch of salt to your water can make it even more effective. Here's why. When you fast, your body excretes more sodium than usual. Low sodium levels can actually increase ghrelin production, making you feel hungrier. By maintaining your electrolytes, you're not just staying hydrated, you're directly helping to manage your hunger hormones. The second strategy is to keep yourself busy with physical activity. This doesn't mean you need to hit the gym hard. Simple activities work great. Go for a 10 or 15-minute walk around your neighborhood. Clean your house or organize a messy drawer. Do some gardening or yard work. Wash your car. Fold laundry. The activity itself doesn't matter much. What matters is that you're moving and your mind is occupied. Light physical activity serves two purposes. First, it distracts your mind from the hunger. When you're focused on a task, your brain has less bandwidth to obsess over food. Second, and this is the interesting part, research shows physical activity can actually reduce ghrelin levels temporarily. One study found that exercising at the start of a fast reduced ghrelin by about 17% compared to fasting without exercise. Movement isn't just a distraction. It's actively helping your biology cope with the fasting state. Many people discover that a simple walk is their secret weapon for getting through tough hunger moments. There's something about changing your environment and getting your body moving that seems to reset your mental state. The third strategy is mental distraction. Your brain can only focus on so many things at once. If you fill it with engaging content, there's less room for hunger to dominate your thoughts. Put on a podcast or audiobook that genuinely interests you. Watch educational videos, maybe even videos about fasting, to remind yourself why you're doing this and reinforce your motivation. Call a friend or family member and have a real conversation. Dive into work that requires concentration. Many people notice that their busiest days are also their easiest fasting days. When your calendar is packed with meetings or you're deep into a challenging project, hours can fly by without a single thought about food. Then, on weekends, when you have free time and nothing urgent to do, suddenly fasting feels impossible. This isn't coincidence. It's how your brain works. Boredom is one of hunger's best friends. When your mind is idle, it looks for stimulation, and food is one of the easiest sources of stimulation available. By keeping yourself mentally engaged, you're not just passing time. You're strategically redirecting your brain's attention away from hunger. The fourth strategy is what I call the 20-minute rule. When hunger hits hard, look at the clock and tell yourself you'll reassess in 20 minutes. Set a timer if you need to. Then do anything else during those 20 minutes. Walk, drink water, work on something, whatever keeps you occupied. When the timer goes off, check in with yourself. More often than not, that intense hunger wave has passed. If it hasn't, drink more water and give it another 10 minutes. This simple technique works because it aligns with the natural wave pattern of ghrelin. The fifth strategy involves what you drink. Black coffee and plain tea are generally considered acceptable during a fast because they contain essentially 0 calories. Both contain caffeine, which acts as a mild appetite suppressant. The warmth of the beverage can also help soothe that empty feeling in your stomach. Just be careful not to overdo it, as too much caffeine can lead to dehydration, which would work against you. The sixth strategy is to know exactly how you'll break your fast. Decide ahead of time what you're going to eat when your eating window opens. Having a clear plan gives your brain a finish line to focus on instead of feeling like the fast stretches on forever. Prepare that meal in advance if possible. Knowing that something delicious and nutritious is waiting for you can make the remaining fasting hours feel much more manageable. Now, a word of caution. While hunger during fasting is normal and usually manageable, there are warning signs you shouldn't ignore. If you experience severe dizziness that doesn't go away after 30 minutes, heart palpitations, or a racing heartbeat, confusion, or an inability to think clearly, fainting or feeling like you might faint, or extreme weakness that doesn't improve with rest, these are signals that something may be wrong. Break your fast and consult a healthcare professional. Certain people should be extra careful with fasting or avoid it entirely. This includes pregnant or breastfeeding women, anyone with a history of eating disorders, people with diabetes who use insulin, those with chronic kidney disease, and anyone who is underweight. Fasting should challenge you, but it should never harm you. Listen to your body. So let's bring this all together. Hunger during fasting is not your enemy. It's not your body punishing you for skipping meals. It's simply your body communicating with you, following patterns that can be understood and even changed. Hunger comes in waves that typically last 15 to 20 minutes before subsiding. It follows your old eating schedule, which is why the times you used to eat feel hardest. It's lowest in the morning thanks to millions of years of evolution, and it decreases significantly after just a few days of consistent fasting as your body adapts to the new pattern. When you understand these facts, you stop fighting against your biology and start working with it. You know that a hunger wave will pass if you wait it out. You know that staying hydrated and maintaining electrolytes directly impacts your hunger hormones. You know that keeping busy, both physically and mentally, makes fasting dramatically easier. The first few days might be challenging, but your body is remarkably adaptable. It was designed to handle periods without food, millions of years of human evolution built in systems specifically for this purpose. When you fast, you're not doing something unnatural. You're tapping into an ancient capability that your body still remembers how to use. And here's something that divides the fasting community. Some people say you should always push through hunger because it builds discipline and mental toughness. Others say you should listen to your body and eat if you truly need to. Based on everything we've covered today, which approach makes more sense to you? Let me know in the comments. If this video helped you understand hunger better, consider sharing it with someone who's struggling with fasting. Sometimes knowing the science behind what you're feeling makes all the difference. And if you want to dive deeper into what happens inside your body during extended fasts, check out our video on 7-day fasting. The biological changes are even more dramatic. Remember, every hour you successfully fast, your body is getting better at this. The hunger you feel today will be weaker next week. Trust the process, ride out those waves, and know that you're more capable than you think. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next Deep dive into the science of fasting. Imagine not eating for 5 entire days. No breakfast, no lunch, no dinner. Just water, minerals, and the mental challenge of watching everyone around you eat while your stomach demands attention. Your coworker brings donuts at 10 in the morning. Your family sits down to dinner while you sip water. By day 3, you're supposed to be weak, right? Barely able to think straight, let alone function. Here's what actually happens. Your body doesn't break down. It rebuilds. Stem cells regenerate. Your immune system reboots. Damaged cells get recycled into fuel. And the process behind all of this, it won a Nobel Prize in 2016. Sounds extreme. People all over the world are doing it, and science shows something remarkable happening at the cellular level. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what your body does when you give it 5 days without food. Not just what you'll feel, but what's happening inside every cell. The biology is stunning, and by the end, you'll see hunger completely differently. Before we go further, quick note, this is educational content, not medical advice. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, have an eating disorder, depend on insulin for diabetes, have chronic kidney disease, are underweight, or take medications that require food, this isn't for you. Talk to your healthcare professional before attempting any extended fast. This is about understanding the science, not prescribing a protocol. Now let me explain what's really going on. Think of your body as having multiple fuel systems. Glycogen is your mini backup battery stored in the liver. Insulin acts like a traffic cop, deciding whether fat gets stored or released. Ketones are your brain's backup generator when glucose runs low. Autophagy is your cellular recycling plant, breaking down damaged parts. These systems have been fine-tuned by millions of years of evolution, and they're about to orchestrate something extraordinary. In the first 12 hours, your body is running diagnostics. Glycogen stores in your liver start depleting. Insulin begins to drop. Your system is assessing the situation, asking, is food coming back soon? At this stage, most of the hunger you feel isn't real hunger. It's habit. Your brain expecting breakfast at 7, a snack at 2, dinner at 6. That pull you're feeling. It's not your stomach. It's your routine screaming at you. Think of it like a pilot running pre-flight checks before switching to auxiliary power. All systems functional, backup systems ready. No panic yet. Your body has a plan B you never consciously programmed. It's been coded into your DNA for millions of years, waiting for this exact moment. Mike, a 38-year-old night shift worker, told me about his first 12 hours fasting. He kept reaching for the coffee pot, not because he needed caffeine, but because his hand was on autopilot. He'd walk to the kitchen stand, then realize there was nothing to grab, and walk back. It took 6 hours before that impulse finally quieted down. That's the habit breaking, not the body failing. If you feel dizzy in these first hours, that's usually dehydration, not fasting itself. Water with a pinch of salt often fixes it in minutes. Your body isn't starving, it's recalibrating. By hour 12, your body realizes food isn't coming back soon. Now the real transformation begins. At 18 to 24 hours, something shifts in your brain. Ketones start appearing in your bloodstream. These molecules created by your liver from fat begin crossing the blood-brain barrier, and they bring something with them: mental clarity. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, starts rising. Think of it as fertilizer for your brain, helping neurons grow stronger connections. Here's the metaphor that makes this click. Your brain is switching fuel sources. Imagine going from a diesel truck, loud and smoky, needing constant refueling every few hours, to a Tesla, smooth, quiet, long range, same destination, completely different ride. That's glucose to ketones. Now here's why this matters evolutionarily. Ancient humans went days between successful hunts. They needed sharp minds to track animals while hungry. Brain fog during fasting. That would mean death. You can't outsmart a predator or find water if you can't think straight. Natural selection kept the humans whose brains got clearer when food disappeared, the ones who got foggy and confused. They didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. This is why Buddhist monks fast before deep meditation, why Greek Olympic athletes fasted before competition. They didn't have the science we have now, but they knew something the mind changes when you stop feeding the body. They discovered it empirically through thousands of years of practice. You might expect to feel weak at 24 hours. But here's what people actually report: a calm, steady focus. Not jittery like caffeine, not manic, just clear. Like someone turned down the noise in their head and they can finally hear themselves think. If you feel worse instead of better by 24 hours, if confusion or severe weakness sets in, that's your body saying stop. Don't push through that. Don't be a hero. Real biological adaptation feels like clarity, not collapse. At this point, you're not just skipping meals anymore. You've crossed into a different metabolic state, and your cells are about to start something extraordinary. Between 24 and 48 hours, autophagy reaches therapeutic levels. Now, let me explain what that actually means, because this is where it gets beautiful. Imagine Marie Kondo walking through every cell in your body. She's holding up each protein, each organelle, each piece of cellular machinery, asking, does this spark joy? Does this still work? If not, it goes to the recycling plant. Broken mitochondria, those power plants in your cells. Recycled. Damaged proteins that could clump together and cause Alzheimer's. Broken down and cleared out. Inflammatory junk that's been sitting around causing problems. Gone. That's autophagy. And here's the story behind the science. In 2016, a Japanese scientist named Yoshinori Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for discovering how autophagy works. He was studying yeast cells under a microscope, and he did something simple: he starved them. Then he watched what happened. The cells started eating themselves, pieces of the cell interior getting consumed by other parts of the cell. Most scientists would have thought destruction, cell death, the end. Ohsumi realized something different. This isn't destruction. This is survival. The cells were breaking down their damaged, dysfunctional parts and recycling them into fuel. He discovered the genes that control this process, genes that exist in every living thing on Earth, from yeast to humans. The same genes, the same process. The Nobel Committee called it one of the most important discoveries in cellular biology. Why? Because autophagy prevents the buildup of toxic proteins linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and cancer. It's your body's built-in disease prevention system. When autophagy declines, disease risk goes up. When autophagy is active, your cells stay cleaner, healthier, more functional. And it's happening inside you, right now, in every single cell. Studies have shown that enhanced autophagy is associated with increased lifespan in animals. It's linked to reduced cancer risk. It helps prevent the neurodegeneration that leads to dementia. This isn't fringe science. This is Nobel Prize level biology happening in your body when you fast. Sarah, 34. A busy parent, tried doing a 48-hour fast once a month for 6 months. She described it as hitting the reset button on inflammation. Her chronic joint pain, something she dealt with for years, became noticeably better. Not gone, but better. She said it felt like her body finally had time to clean house. Think about this for a second. Evolution spent millions of years perfecting this system. Your body knows how to clean itself. It knows how to repair damage. It knows how to prevent disease at the molecular level. It just needs you to step back and let it work. Now, this is powerful biology, which means you need to respect it. If you have chronic health conditions, if you're on medications, if you have any concerns at all, medical supervision isn't optional, it's essential. This process is real, and real biology requires real caution. By hour 48, autophagy is running at full capacity. Cellular recycling plants working overtime. But your body has another trick up its sleeve. At 48 to 72 hours, growth hormone surges. We're talking 300 to 500% above baseline levels. That's not a typo. Your body floods itself with growth hormone. And here's what growth hormone does. It protects your muscle while helping you burn fat. Think of growth hormone as the bodyguard who only shows up when food leaves the building. His job, protect the valuable assets, your muscle, while burning the reserves, your fat. And he's very good at his job. Here's why this evolved, and this story matters. Imagine a caveman who hasn't eaten in 3 days. If his body started burning muscle for fuel, he'd get weaker. His arms couldn't draw a bow. His legs couldn't chase prey. Too weak to hunt means he dies. Game over. No descendants. But if his body preserved muscle while burning fat reserves, he stays strong. Strong enough to make the next kill. Strong enough to survive until food comes back. That caveman lived. His genes got passed down through thousands of generations. You inherited that biology. Everyone says the same thing about fasting. You'll lose all your muscle. You'll waste away. But the reality is different. Growth hormone increases dramatically. Your body enters what's called protein-sparing ketosis, which means it chooses to burn fat instead of muscle. Studies on extended fasting show minimal muscle loss, especially when people stay lightly active. Your body isn't stupid. It won't burn the engine when it has a full tank of fuel sitting right there in your fat stores. This is the metabolic state that kept humans alive through ice ages, droughts, famines, and every food shortage our species has ever faced. You're not suffering through starvation. You're activating ancient survival programming, biological excellence that's been refined over millions of years. Your energy at this point should be steady, maybe even surprisingly good. If you feel severely weak, if you can't do basic daily activities, that's different from feeling hungry. That's a signal to stop and reassess. At 72 hours, you cross another threshold. Your body starts doing something that modern medicine is only beginning to understand. Between 72 and 120 hours days, 3 to 5, stem cell pathways activate. Your immune system begins to regenerate. Old damaged white blood cells start dying off, and fresh functional immune cells get created to replace them. It's like your immune system is rebooting. Think of it this way. Your computer starts glitching. Too many programs running. Corrupted files everywhere. System overloaded and slow. So what do? You restart it. Old programs shut down. Memory clears. Fresh start. That's what's happening to your immune system during an extended fast. In 2014, researchers at the University of Southern California studied cancer patients who fasted for 72 hours or longer before chemotherapy. What they found shocked them. The patients' immune systems regenerated. They could measure it in blood tests. Markers of old worn-out immune cells dropped. Markers of new healthy immune cells rose. Old white blood cells that couldn't fight infections effectively anymore died off. Stem cells. Those master cells that can become anything your body needs woke up and started creating brand new immune cells. The lead researcher said it was like the body was clearing out soldiers who couldn't fight anymore and recruiting fresh troops. They called it a remarkable regeneration. They could literally watch the immune system renewing itself. By day 5, you're not the same collection of cells you were when you started. Some of your immune cells are brand new, born in the last 48 hours. You've witnessed biological regeneration happening inside your own body. This is why shamans in indigenous cultures fasted for vision quests, why spiritual traditions across every continent, Buddhist monks, Christian mystics, Muslim practitioners during Ramadan, Hindu sadhus discovered fasting independently. Different cultures, different languages, different beliefs, but the same practice. They didn't understand stem cells or immune regeneration, but they felt the transformation. They knew something profound was happening. Now let's be very clear about something. This is the edge. 5 days is the summit for most people. Beyond this, risks start outweighing benefits unless you have medical supervision. You've climbed the mountain. You've seen the view. Now it's time to plan your descent carefully, because breaking the fast matters just as much as the fast itself. Let me give you the real talk on safety, because this matters. Severe dizziness that won't go away, heart racing or palpitations, confusion or disorientation, vomiting, fainting. These are red flags. If any of these persist for more than 30 minutes despite drinking water and resting, stop the fast. Eat something small and talk to a healthcare professional. Your body's wisdom trumps any protocol, any video, any advice you've ever heard. Listen to it above everything else. Fasting isn't about willpower over wisdom. It's not about proving you're tough. It's about witnessing what happens when you give your body space to do what evolution designed it to do. Nothing more, nothing less. So after everything you've just learned, Nobel Prizes, stem cells, growth, hormone, immune regeneration, autophagy, cleaning your cells like a microscopic recycling plant, here's the bottom line. A 5-day fast isn't about deprivation. It's about revelation. You're revealing what your body has always been capable of. The intelligence coded into every cell. The survival program that kept your ancestors alive through conditions we can't even imagine today. The biological systems that won Nobel Prizes because scientists finally caught up to what your body already knew. Not starving, adapting. Now here's where I need your input. Some doctors say never fast beyond 24 hours, that it's too risky. Others point to research showing stem cell regeneration at 772 hours and beyond. Some people call 5 days extreme and dangerous. Others call it returning to what human bodies were designed for, what our ancestors did regularly. Where do you stand? Not what you've been told by someone else. What does your gut say about this? What makes sense to you after hearing the science? Drop your honest take in the comments. I want to know what you actually think. And here's a challenge for you. Describe what's happening inside fasting cells in one word. Just one. I'll start rebirth. Now your turn. Drop your word in the comments. If this changed how you see your body's hidden intelligence, if you'll never look at hunger the same way again, share this with someone who thinks fasting is just starvation in disguise. Let them see what the science actually says. Hit subscribe if you want more videos that reveal what your body is truly capable of. Real science, real biology. No hype. Next up, I'm covering why breaking a fast wrong can undo everything you just accomplished. The refeeding mistakes that wreck your progress and how to avoid them. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay safe, and remember, you're more resilient than you think.